The first college football game of the year is in the books, and it ends with a top 10 Florida team being upset. We'll talk about it here on the Sunshine State Sports Rundown. Wow. Wow. All I can say is wow. I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words. The expectations, the moral, the I'm at a loss for words. And let me explain this to you. Going into this game, Mike Norvell, the team, they talk about how they want it. They're on national television. The first game of the year in Dublin, Ireland. The whole nation's going to be watching. They want to make a statement and prove that they should have been in the college football playoffs last season. Yes, you lose a lot from last season. You lose 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick on the front seven on the defense. You lose a secondary in the top 3 rounds. And you lose other guys to the portal. But Mike Norvell thought they reloaded, and they're not a team that lost too much. And he wanted to make a statement. They should have been in. As this is a Florida team podcast, you were pulling for Florida State. We thought the same thing. We thought that Florida State was going to make a statement. And they lost. We're going to talk about the game, but first off, it was just such and I'm not giving discredit to Georgia Tech. They played a great game. They deserved to win. They were the better team in this game. But Florida State played very, very, very below expectations. And if this is the way they play for the rest of the season, they're not coming near winning the AAC nor coming close to a playoff berth. So, going into the game, Georgia Tech wins the toss. They choose to defer. Florida State gets the ball first. And they go 75 yards, touchdown. No passes on that drive, I believe. And it was, uh, was it Roy Dell Williams? I know it was a rushing touchdown. I think it was Roy Dell Williams. He rushes it in for the touchdown. It was like a fake jet. It was like a fake jet sweep to a handoff. And Florida State gets in the end zone first. They go for 2. They want to make that statement on the first drive. Oh, that was the fake jet sweep to the tight end, I believe. But yeah, they go up 8-0. We were expecting DJU to not throw more than 15 passes today, and they were just going to pound it down your throats, and that's what they did on the first drive. So Mike Norvell not wanting to continue that is concerning for sure. And I thought they should have ran it more. Like, in total, Royale Williams only got 12 carries. Lawrence Toafali only got 8 carries. They threw it more times than DJ threw it more times than he handed it off. Very questionable from Alex Atkins, Florida State's offensive coordinator. So that's one thing. And after that drive, Georgia Tech gets the ball. They do the same thing. They pretty much hand the ball off on almost every play, and then they get inside they get to a 1st and goal. Haynes King, their quarterback, does stuff on his legs, on the ground, and Jamal Haynes scores a touchdown. And Jamal Haynes, man, he's special. He rushed for over 1,000 yards last season. more than 6 yards a carry, 7 touchdowns, and he just proved it this year. Georgia Tech is known to have good running backs. They had Jahmyr Gibbs before he transferred to Alabama, the Lions running back right now. So they score. So they kick the extra point. It's 8-7. Then we have a bunch of defensive drives in a row. Georgia Tech gets the ball back. They end up getting into the end zone. And again, I believe it was Jamal Haynes again. No, apologies. Zach Tyron, yes, the backup quarterback, got the first touchdown. They put him in. They faked the jet sweep. He ran the QB draw right in. And then Jamal Haynes scores. So we get to 14-7. Florida State strings a drive together where they get into field goal range. They make a 51-yarder. Their kicker did really well today. Ryan Fitzgerald, 2 for 2. So it's 14-11 because Florida State went for the 2. They get a stop on Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech misses the 51-yarder. So then Florida State has the ball last drive of the first half. And it was 3rd down and 12. Georgia Tech gets a sack. Their edge, I believe, and I could be blanking on his name. Yeah, I can't exactly remember, but they get a sack on the 3rd and 12. It's like way behind the line of scrimmage. It was blitz coverage. DJU had no time. It was an immediate sack. They call it face mask because he held his face mask to bring it down. So Florida State, after the face mask gets a 15-yard penalty, a 1st down. And they get inside the 40. They kick a 59-yarder to end the half, and we go 14-14 to the end of the half. And it's 14-14 for the majority of the 3rd quarter. And Georgia Tech just kept running the football, something that Florida State didn't continue to do. Haynes King ran it 15 times on his own. Chad Alexander had 7 rushes. Jamal Haynes had 11 carries. So that's 15 plus 11, 26. 26 plus 7. Quick math right here, 33. 33 rushes compared to Florida State's 20. And yes, Florida State, it's a little more because Jalen Lucas had 2 carries. Because Holmes had 2 carries. Cam Davis had 1 carry. So yes, it's more than that. But they didn't run it down your throat. And something that Florida State should have done is they should have added in an extra safety or an extra guy in the secondary and put them into the box where they would get closer to the line of scrimmage because Florida State was playing bend but don't break defense. They were letting up rushes from Jamal Haynes and Haynes King, and they were letting up 7, 8-yard rushes, but they weren't letting up the big explosive plays. Yes, we saw a few explosive plays, but that's not what they were doing. They were playing bend but don't break, and they played very little blitz. A lot of time for Haynes King on almost everything. And you got to stack the box more times because that's something that Florida State didn't do. And I hope Mike Norvell will learn from this. So then we go into the end of the third. 14-all, Jamal Haynes scores another touchdown. Florida State gets it back. Oh, and on that drive, Haynes King was like, before they were just pounding it down your throat, he started throwing the football, doing it on his own. So it was 3rd and 2. Or 2nd and 2. No. 2nd and 2. And a fumble happens. Haynes King loses it. Georgia Tech very lucky to come on top of the football. Turns into 3rd and 12. So it's 3rd and 12 at Florida State's maybe 48. Haynes King throws a dinger to Eric Singleton. They pick up the first on that. And then he throws another pass to Malik Rutherford to get inside like the 20. And then he runs to the 3. He rushes on a designed QB run. And Jamal Haynes scores a touchdown. Fourth quarter goes in. DJU leads Florida State down the field. 2 fourth downs they faced. They faced a 4th and 8, which they converted on. And it was inside Georgia Tech's 20. It was a beautiful pass, got Florida State to the 1-yard line. And then I believe Lawrence Philly rushed it in for the touchdown. So Florida State had 2 field goals, the 51 and 59 yarder, so they tied up at 51 all. Georgia Tech then has the ball, 6 minutes left. They run a lot of clock down. It's like a 3rd and 12. Haynes King has pressure. He's about to get sacked. He throws a running back screen literally just in time to Jamal Haynes. He picks up the first down. You have another event where Haynes King loses the football. Georgia Tech gets lucky to recover on it. And it's like 3rd and 18. So they get it to 4th and 6. And then Aiden Beer, he missed one earlier, but he ends up making a 44-yard field goal to lead Georgia Tech to victory. And that's what happened. The kick was kicked with 5 seconds left. Time ran out. And let's talk about our takeaways from this game. Florida State lets up a lot of rushing yards. Their rush defense was terrible. Their front 7 was pretty bad. And I'm not going to say that DJU was good. Their offense wasn't good. Like, if you're that bad on defense, you got to score points. And they didn't do that. So Florida State needs to blitz more. They need to add another guy on that D line. That front 7 wasn't strong enough, and it wasn't good enough against Georgia Tech's O-line. So that's what my key takeaways there were. Also on offense, why not rush the ball more? Why not just pound it with Roy Dell Williams? Look, I'm as confused as you are, Florida State fans, but look, let's talk about FSU's future coming up. Oh, and I want to say DJU. So, DJU, he didn't do anything special. He didn't do anything horrible. 19 for 27, buck 190, buck 90. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Look, I don't have any other words to describe it than mid. Comment your one-word reaction to the Florida State Georgia Tech performance of DJU. Just mid. Like, you've been playing college football for 5 years now. You've been at 3 different teams. You need to learn how to make the explosive plays as well. Look, he was throwing a bunch of 7-8 yard passes. If I had to describe it, and if I had to compare it to an NFL QB, it's Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, like Malik Benson, former Alabama wide receiver, he was expected to be the number 1 receiver on Alabama last season. He threw it to him, 4 or 5 times. Jaquil Douglas was huge too. He had that big, 15-yard catch. But DJU isn't making the explosive plays that we saw Jordan Travis make last season. Haynes King on the other end threw 16. I believe it was 16 interceptions last season. He did it by himself on the ground. 54 yards on the ground, buck 46 in the air. And he didn't make any mistakes. He had 2 fumbles, which were recovered on the offense. So not real fumbles. So, yeah, I mean, look, DJU's got to step up. The receivers were good. They were able to get open. And you got to hand it off more. So where does Florida State go from here? Boston College at home. I mean, that should be a win, but we expected Georgia Tech to be a win. And it wasn't. Then you have a tough Memphis game. Memphis is going to be the number one G5 team, most people say this season. And then you have Cal at home at SMU until you play Clemson. Florida State wants to make the playoffs. They got to turn it around because unless Georgia Tech ends up winning games, which I'm not shading any disrespect to Georgia Tech, but I don't think they're a great football team. I think they're good. I don't think they're great. It's not going to look like a good loss, especially in basically a home game. You saw all the uh FSU faithful. Yes, faithful. That's the word. Like doing the like it was just a home game for Florida State. There were no Georgia Tech fans in the crowd, but it is what it is. You had a lot of chances. Georgia Tech flat out outplayed you this season. I mean, I still think it's true. Miami's going to be the best FL team, which we'll be talking about a lot this season in college football. But that'll be it for the Florida State versus Georgia Tech recap on the Sunshine State Sports Rundown. I'm JJ Metz. Thanks for watching. As always, go FL teams. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. We got a lot planned this week. Peace.